Hello, dear students. I am Mohan Ramanaik, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Government Postgraduate College, Karwar. In this video, I want to explain the subject Human Resource Management, become third semester, Unit 4, Compensation Management. Under Unit 4, topic Compensation Management, I want to explain the meaning of profit sharing, merits and demerits of profit sharing, meaning of labor co-partnership, merits and demerits of co-partnership, meaning of bonus, meaning of fringe benefits, objectives of fringe benefits, and types of fringe benefits. First of all, I want to explain what is profit sharing. It is one of the group incentive scheme in which employees of the organization are given share in the profit of the organization. If organization earn a profit, the some share of profit is given employees in the form of group incentive scheme. Of the net profit of the organization, certain percentage of the profit is shared among the employees on a suitable basis. It is called profit sharing. Employees receive wages in addition to share in profit, which is fixed in advance. According to International Labour Organization, profit sharing is a method of industrial remuneration under which an employer undertakes to pay his employees a share in the net profit of the enterprise in addition to their regular wages. So, employer pays his employees a share in the net profit of the enterprise in addition to their regular wages. It is called profit sharing. Now, I want to explain the merits of profit sharing. One is increase in the earning of the worker. Profit sharing scheme helps to increase the earnings and standard of living of the workers. So it is an extra remuneration given to worker and their earnings will be increased. Second one helps to attract competent workers. The scheme of profit sharing attract able, competent and qualified persons towards organization and also helps to retain such persons. So it helps to attract competent person. Third one helps to prevent labor turnover and absenteeism. Workers who quit the job in the middle of their service are not eligible to share in the profit as they have to put some years of service. Therefore, the scheme prevents frequent labor turnover and absenteeism of the employees. So, it prevents labor turnover and absenteeism. Fourth one, increase in productivity. Increase in productivity results in increase in profit and reduced cost. If workers are eligible to share in profit, they work with positive approach and spirit to increase the production, productivity and profitability of the organization. So it leads to increase in productivity. Fifth one, creates sense of responsibility. As a worker are given share in the profit of the organization, they feel happy to work hard so as to increase the profit of the organization. They are motivated to work more and also earn more. So every worker happily to do the work in order to get the share in the profit of the organization. Sixth one, improve industrial relation. The scheme creates sense of belongingness among employees, which in turn helps to maintain peace, unity or harmony between employers and employees. The scheme also helps to reduce or avoid industrial strikes and disputes. It improves the good industrial relation between employer and employee. Seventh one, provide social justice. The scheme provides social justice to employees by sharing profits on equal basis among employees and employers. So, profit is a result of work of the workers. So, every worker has a right to get a share in a profit. So, it provides social justice to all the employees. Eighth one, reduced supervision. Supervision of working performance of employees is reduced as workers take care to work independently and to minimize waste so as to maximize profit of the organization. So it reduces the supervision. Next, demerits of profit sharing. One is no guarantee of payment. Profit sharing schemes does not guarantee the payment of profit, as a profit will be shared only if company earns adequate amount of profit. In case company incurs loss, employees do not get share in the profit. So when the company earns profit, then only company guarantees profit sharing. If the company incur loss, there is no guarantee for profit sharing. Second one, no distinction between employees. For the purpose of sharing the profit, no distinction is made between efficient and inefficient employees, and all the employees are treated as equally. This may cause injustice to efficient and hardworking employees. So here there is no distinction between efficient and inefficient employees. Third one, manipulation of accounts. Employers may manipulate the accounts to avoid the sharing of profit with employees. As a result, workers may lose opportunity to share in the profit of the organization. So there is a chances of employers may manipulate the accounts to avoid the sharing of profit with the employees. Fifth one, delay in payment. Actual amount of profit earned by the company is calculated at the end of the year, and amount available for distribution is disclosed after preparing and completing all the accounts and meeting of all the organization, meeting all the obligations. Therefore, there is a long interval or gap between efforts put and reward shared by the workers. This long gap may not motivate the workers to work hard so as to increase their profits. So it leads to delay in payment. Sixth one, opposition by trade union. Trade union may oppose the scheme due to the attitude of manipulation. There is a chances of manipulation of accounts by the management and unscientific basis of distribution of profit. So therefore trade union is opposed. These are the demerits of the profit sharing. Next, another topic, labor co-partnership. What is meant by labor co-partnership? It is a system in which employees are made partners of the organization and are allowed to participate in the decision-making process of the organization, and thus employees work in the capacities as employees and partners of the organization. In this system, share in the profit of the organization is paid to the employees in the form of shares, and hence they become eligible to participate in the decision-making process of the organization. So it is called labor co-partnership. Merits of labor co-partnership: participation in decision-making process, and the system provides an opportunity to employees to participate in the decision-making process of the organization. So every employees get participation of the decision-making process of the company. Second, it creates unity and harmony. The system creates unity and harmony among the employees. Improve the status of the employees. There is an improvement in the status of the employees as they become partner or shareholders of the company. So they become a partners or shareholders of the company, and it will lead to improve the status of the employees. Fourth one, loyalty and commitment. Improved status makes the employees to be loyal and committed to the organization. Then demerits, one is reluctant. Employees in general are reluctant to become a co-owners and prefer to be wage earners rather than the partners. They prefer wage earners rather than to be partners. Limited voting power. The share of workers in the total capital is very less and hence their voting power is very much limited. So their voting power is limited in this scheme. Third one, inexperienced and immature workers. The workers who are participating in decision making process may be inexperienced and immature in the matters relating to the company affairs, company law and management. They are not able to take decision relating to the company. So this is a immature and inexperienced worker. Fourth one, opposition by union. Trade union generally opposes the views of the management efforts to make employees as shareholders. Fifth one, employee preferences. Employee prefer bonus in cash rather than in shares. So employees preference more bonus in cash rather than shares. So these are the demerits of the co-partnership. Next, bonus. What is mean by bonus? Bonus is an extra payment to the worker in addition to the basic wage and dearness allowance. Company distribute bonus, it is an extra payment to the workers in addition to the basic wages. When the company's profit is increases, they give bonus to all the employees. Bonus is given as an incentive to the workers for regular attendance, for showing better performance, or for special circumstances, etc. Thus, bonus is given in the form of production-based bonus, puja bonus, good attendance bonus, efficiency bonus, etc. Next, fringe benefit. What is fringe benefit? Employees working in an organization are given some extra benefits in addition to their basic wage and salaries. It is the extra benefits is given to employees in addition to their wages. These extra benefits are called fringe benefits or employee benefits. These benefits are provided over and above their basic wage and salaries, and these are non-wage or supplemental benefits that employees receive in addition to their regular wage and salaries. They can be given in the form of provident fund, gratuity, medical care, accident relief, pension, paid holidays, etc. So these are the examples of fringe benefits. Next, objectives of fringe benefits. One is to recruit and retain the best employees. It helps to retain best employees in the organization. Second, it motivates and improves morale of the employees and by satisfying unsatisfied needs. Third one, to protect the employees against certain hazards like life insurance, old age pension, etc. Fourth one, to ensure health, safety and welfare of the employees. By giving fringe benefits, it ensures health of the employees, safety of the employees and welfare of the employees. Fifth one, to improve work environment and avoid relations, industrial relation, and it improve the work environment and individual relation between the employers and employee. And last one, to meet the statutory requirement. Fringe benefits may be necessary to meet the statutory requirement of the employees. Next, kinds of fringe benefits. There are various kinds of fringe benefits. One is legally required payments. For example, old age pension, disability pension, unemployment pension, workers' cooperation, etc. Second one is contingent and deferred payment, for example, pension plan, group life insurance, maternity leave, etc. Third one, payment for time not worked, for example, vacation, holiday, voting pay allowance, etc. Fourth one, other benefits, for example, traveling allowance, company car and subsidies, moving expenses, uniform and tool expenses, employee meal expenses, discount on employees, goods and services, child care facilities, etc. These are the kinds of fringe benefits. Thank you one and all for watching this video. Thank you very much.